Dallas Mavericks against the Denver Nuggets tonight. As you see, hand sanitizers are being handed out to fans in the arena. Not just soap, not just going to the bathroom. Hand sanitizer being given out to everybody. It's not a bad idea, actually, not by a long shot. Let's bring in former Memphis Grizzlies and New York Knicks head coach David Fizdale. When you first learned of the virus and the impact that it was having on the NBA, coach, what went through your mind?
Wow, that this is really happening during my lifetime. And just really can't believe that we're at a place now that we have to cancel large sporting events, big money-making sporting events, big money-making concerts, things like that. The thought that those things are now either being played without a crowd or being canceled is pretty overwhelming.
As a coach in the National Basketball Association, do you agree with the league's decision to make sure that they're not having any fans? At least the Golden State Warriors have already made the decision in San Francisco, obviously, that they're not going to have fans at their game because of the health organization and the decisions that they made. What are your thoughts about that?
I do agree with it, Stephen A. And this is why it's bigger than basketball right now. You're talking about a pandemic. You're talking about something that can easily be spread. We see how fast this stuff has ran through other countries. We can't be arrogant enough to think that we're immune to that. We have as many, if not the most, large gatherings than any other country in the world. And so for us to be diligent and cautious, I think, is the right approach. We can't risk our fans' health, and we also cannot risk our players and our staffers' health.
Coach, as an assistant in Miami, you used to coach LeBron James. You're very close with him. We all know this. His original position was he's not playing if it's not going to be in front of the fans. He backtracked on that considerably, obviously, as he's learned more about this situation. As a coach, what would you tell players at this particular moment in time in regards to what's transpiring before us?
Well, one, you want to educate them on how to stay healthy, right? Just the basics, I think, is don't assume that players know how to keep themselves healthy in scenarios like this. That would be the first thing. But the second thing would be, especially if I'm a team contending for the playoffs or contending for home court or any of that, is keeping the mission in mind and how important every game is, regardless of the fact that fans are there watching or not watching. You still have a body of work that you've put together over the course of the season to put you in this position. You can't let a situation like this right now knock you out of your focus, and now all of a sudden you start losing games because of the conditions.
Coach, always appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being on the show. You take care of yourself. See you soon.
Absolutely, Steve.
Let's transition to 14-year NBA veteran Matt Barnes. You're sitting right here next to me. You've been a part of this league for a very, very long time. How scared are you that ultimately games are going to end up being missed, canceled along those lines?
I think I would prefer the NBA to kind of take a step back and go ahead and cancel games for a week or two and just do as much research as we possibly can. Let's get studies on how many healthy 18 to 35-year-olds have caught this, and if so, what happened? How many children have caught this? I understand all these other leagues that have canceled things. I get it, I respect it, but the NBA moves the needle. What we do moves the needle. We set culture, we set trends. So I would like to get as much information about this disease as possible and just take a step back. Like I said, I don't think the game is meant to be played without fans. I think the game will suffer. The players are saying that it's not going to be the same. The atmosphere, the energy, if you've ever played, you understand what the arena atmosphere is like. So without fans, I think the play is going to, tremendously suffer. But let's also think about the flu sweeps through every professional locker room every single year. The flu sweeps through my children's school every single year. People get sick. We get our medicines. We get healthy. We hydrate. And we feel better. Like I said, I just think there's not enough information out there yet for us to. I understand we want to be, ahead of it. We want to be progressive instead of reactive. But let's just take a step back and kind of see where we're at with things and then move forward from there. But I don't think the game is meant to be played without fans.
Hold your thought right there. We've got to transition to Dallas, where our very own Doris Burke is. She'll be on a call for the game tonight between the Denver Nuggets and the Dallas Mavericks. You just spoke to both head coaches today. Can you give me the feel, the vibe of where their head is and what they're going through right now, Doris?
Yeah, and I reached out to a couple of players as well, Stephen A., and basically the response has been, we really don't know what to think. We are trying to, like the rest of the country, educate ourselves in real time. You hear what Matt said. It will be absolutely bizarre to think of an arena without family and friends and obviously the fans. Mike Malone told us earlier today that basically at shoot-around this morning, he looked at his guys and said, look around the arena because there's a distinct possibility this would be the atmosphere within which we are playing. So there's uncertainty, there's education that's ongoing, and sort of a wait-and-see attitude amongst coaches and players, Stephen A.
Let's transition to the game because there is a game that's taking place tonight, Doris. It's between the Denver Nuggets, who are the number 3 seed in the Western Conference, and obviously the Dallas Mavericks. When you look at this matchup right here, which isn't getting the attention it deserves as far as I'm concerned, because both of these teams have been impressive, what chances do you give either of them to come out of the West, seeing what you've seen from them the multitude of times you've watched them this year?
I really enjoy watching both teams. I think they are aesthetically pleasing basketball teams, but I feel like there's more growth and development in the playoffs to happen. I still believe that the teams, the Lakers and the Clippers, are a tier above. And it's interesting talking to the coaches. You know, Nikola Jokic for a straight month with so many injuries was carrying this team. He's hit a little bit of a lull here. And when we talked to Rick Carlisle before the game, he said, listen, that guy might be shooting 32%, but he put 2 killers on us in the matchup, so we're going to guard him like we need to guard him. Should be a lot of fun. I saw Luka get hit on that thumb that's been bothering him last night against San Antonio. I'm curious to see how he is handling the basketball tonight, Stephen A.
Doris, always appreciate the great work. Thank you so much. Looking forward to listening to you during the game. You take care. And I'm Stephen A. Smith. I'm here with yours truly, Brian Windhorst. He's sitting right next to me. Lots of stuff to get into. The league was on the phone all day today, talking to its owners, Commissioner Adam Silver, and of course, the 30 owners or so. What can you tell us about what transpired today?
Yeah, there's really kind of 2 things going on right now, Stephen A. One is they've got to have immediate planning for how they're going to handle the next few days, because obviously we're seeing all of these fans taken out of arenas. Fans are going to be taken out of NBA arenas very soon, all across the board. If they don't make the decision is going to get made for them. They're aware of that. The second thing is long-term planning. Taking a look at arena schedules, talking with team officials, and seeing what the feasibility is of potentially delaying the season, leaving that open as an option that they research.
Let's bring in our ultimate insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, NBA insider. Talk to us. You've been working the phones all day. You've been all over this story, Woj. Talk to us about what you've learned. You just tweeted something a few minutes ago.
That's right, Stephen, Brian. The greater consensus right now among NBA teams is to continue playing the season, but without fans in arenas. The league is going to make a decision by Thursday, by tomorrow, on next steps. But there's a push in this league right now to continue the season without fans in the arena. Another consideration on that owner's call with the league today, I'm told, was the idea of taking a hiatus, stepping back from the season, postponing games, potentially canceling regular season games. But right now, there's a greater push, a much greater push, I'm told, with the league in just continuing to play games, but do it without fans in the arena. And one thing that I know the league office, certainly teams all want, they don't want lost games, and they want to try to keep these games on television.
I know that you talked about there's a stronger push to just not have fans in there, Woj, but how strong, if you can tell us at all, is the push, at least by some of the owners, to actually postpone or cancel some of these games?
Well, I think it's everyone's preference to keep playing, but I think it's been part of the conversation. They have talked about everything from moving games from one arena in a city to the away arena based on the schedule of a night's games, even looking at games at neutral sites, maybe even in non-NBA cities. But right now, the push is to continue playing games with the current schedule we have in arenas that are going to be empty, following the lead of what the NCAA did with the college basketball tournaments today, which is to play them for the foreseeable future in empty arenas. But the league office, Adam Silver, ultimately is going to decide that, I'm told, by tomorrow. They have to get moving in a direction here. And certainly the consensus, again, that I'm told, along with Zach Lowe, is to continue playing the games without fans.
Wendy, let's get back to you here. What do you think ultimately will happen here? Because even though there are no cases of NBA players having contracted the virus, in the same breath, there's got to be obviously a very palpable fear of that. What do you think leads to them ultimately making this decision and just sticking with one decision over the other?
If Woj says that the owner's consensus is to keep playing, he's right. Woj is always right. I'm just going to tell you, I'm looking at what happened in China and I'm looking at what happened in Italy. And in both those cases, they tried to continue those leagues, especially in Italy, without fans in the soccer league, and it just did not work. Mm-hmm. And now today we have a reported case of a Juventus player, one of the most powerful, biggest teams in Italy, coming down with the coronavirus. I think that eventually you're going to see the leagues have to suspend. That's my opinion.